The meeting to order. Let's do Pledge of Allegiance, please. Stand up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jenny, can you please call to order?
Councilmember Cole?
Here.
Councilmember Schwer?
Here.
Councilmember Wong?
Here.
Councilmember Nordby?
Here.
Mayor Monge?
Here. Thank you for calling the roll. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Cole.
Second.
Councilmember Schwiers. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Presentations. And me. I'll be right there.
We could bring Barb up first, that'd be great. Well, just with pleasure. So this is for the Government Finance Office Association of the United States and Canada, presenting this award finance reporting achievement to Barb Huesman, Utility Bill Coordinator, City of North St. Paul, Minnesota. The award of financial reporting achievement is presented to the Government Financial Officer Association, to the department or individual designated as instrumentation in the government unit achieving a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting. A certificate of achievement is presented to those government units whose annual financial reports are judged to adhere to program standards and represents the highest award in government financial reporting. So with this, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all you do. Appreciate it.
And Jackie, could you come up, please? Afterwards, we'll get some pictures if you'd like. Way to go. Again, this is Government Finance Office Association of the United States and Canada, presenting this award of finance reporting and achievement to Jackie Lutmer, Finance Coordinator, City of North St. Paul, Minnesota. The award of financial reporting achievement is presented to the Government Finance Officers Association, to the department or individuals designated as instrumental in the government unit achieving a certificate of achievement for excellence in financial reporting. A certificate of achievement is presented to those government units whose annual financial reports are judged to adhere to program standards and represents the highest award in governing financial reporting. I'll let you give that to her this time.
Thank you so much for all you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jackie.
you.
Thanks, Brad.
One more. Dan, can you join us, please?
You know I give speeches, though. If I
Oh,
Oh,
hit the mic off.
This isn't working. All right, Dan, this is for Government Finance Officers Association, Certificate of Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting, presented to City of North St. Paul, Minnesota for its annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2021. It is a pleasure to have you here at the city and the way you have taken control of that department, and you have just great employees that back you up, so you guys is well deserved. There you go, sir.
Well, thank you. I'm accepting this on the behalf
Thank
of the
you so
city of
much.
North St. Paul. There is a little bit, I am part of a.
he doesn't need a microphone.
He's working the room.
What this award is for the financial statement that ended December 31st, 2021. I started in July 12th of 2021. The significance of that year to me is huge for this organization. And the reason why is because the city had adopted a 0% tax levy at the end of 2021 and cut 4 positions. The chief of police had retired the time I got here. There was an interim police chief. Unfortunately, the city manager had left. We had a great interim city manager, Brian Frandl. To those who may know, I like to thank people for things. The individual who hired me, although I never got to work with that individual, was Scott Dudek. And then we didn't have a permanent public works director. And the finance director had left. And I'm thinking, when I got here, I don't know why I took his job. But it was kind of interesting that quickly, even actually at the first day, when I got home that night, my wife asked me, so what do you think about the decision that you made? And I said, wow, I made the right decision. Why? Because everybody in this organization is amazing. Barb and Jackie are just two of the amazing people. They just happen to be my amazing people. And everybody's so welcoming, and everybody here is dedicated, professional. But what really was a key to it all was the leadership of this organization. It's now this group here, that's the city council. At that point in time, it was the Mayor Furlong, who really did an amazing job and deserves so much credit. And there were 4 other individuals, Andy Peterson, Scott Thorson, Lisa Wong, and Mr. Tim Cole, who were our council members and who, for some odd reason, trusted me. And we made it through the 2021 budget and obviously the financial statement. But I guess what really hit me at the end was, at the end of November, what is considered a finance director's right-hand person, your accountant, left. Now, I've only been here for 4 months, and I gotta go through year-end close on a system I've never done before, and I gotta prepare this. Well, guess what I found out? I found out I didn't have just a right hand, I had a left hand person. And Barb and Jackie are my right and left hand. And they've been there since day number 1, and it's almost been 2 years. I wouldn't trade a moment of that time. And you are 2 of the most impressive people that I've ever met. And you 2 deserve the honor and the recognition. And my understanding is you haven't gotten a lot of recognition in the past. But you're at this point in time, and you will in the future. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I know this from an organizational standpoint. This is one heck of a great organization. We have a great leader now in our mayor. We have a great leader in our city manager. And we have a fabulous city council. So the future looks bright. So at that one moment when I thought, why did they take this job? Who would have thought it would have turned out to be this? So I thank everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We knew Barb and Jackie were doing all the heavy lifting for years.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad you called it out.
It didn't take me long enough.
Sorry, we'll move on to the consent agenda, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. First up on the consent agenda, item A, April 18th, 2023 workshop minutes. Item B, April 18th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Item C, general claims, $770,815.83. HRA claims of $1,941.94. EDA claims of $444,000. Newman Fest 2023 special event permit. Resolution changing the location of the polling place for elections. Approval on sale and Sunday liquor license for Beckel Bogle, DBA Blue Nile Ethiopian Restaurant. And that is it.
Well, any,
Can I pull item G?
that's what I'm asking. Does anybody want to pull anything?
Let me see.
G, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Pull D. G, I'm sorry. G isn't done. Talk. G. All right. What do we do after pull one? We never pull one.
We can just table it. We can, we'll
Towards the end there. Yep. now
set it down
I've-
there for
then
discussion.
Go right to the meeting then, no, open to the public next.
Please.
Hold it, we have to vote.
Sorry. Oh, I apologize. I got a little screwed up on that one. Do I have a
Thank you.
motion to move forward?
Yes, motion to move forward.
Councilmember Swear,
Second.
Councilmember Wong, all those in favor say aye.
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 And Mr. Mayor, for clarification, the
Yep.
item that's been pulled, are we moving that to city business action items as item D? Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
Good. Meeting open to public at, do you have due time? 6:40. And do we have any, oh, here we go, it's up here. You must have snuck this up when I wasn't around, thank you. All right. Looks like we have Pat, please, Pat Hinckley. If you can, each your full name and address, I appreciate it, please. You got 3 minutes?
You want to see this? This is what I got right here.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, because I've had that parking spot right next to my garage since 1987.
Excuse me, Pat. Can we have your first name, last name, and address?
2709 Holloway.
Thank you.
And then I asked him why all of a sudden, well, somebody complained. He said, you can't have gravel anymore. It's been like this since 1987. So why do I have to change it now? I mean, there's tons of them all over North St. Paul that are the same thing, same as mine. He said, well, could somebody
Thank you.
complain? He even got parking lots right here in North St. Paul, right, you can see from this building, right next to Sidewinders. That's not blacktop or gravel either. So if somebody starts complaining, everybody has to put cement down or blacktop.
Is that an ordinance right now?
It is.
Yeah.
You know, was put in the code, it had to be gravel, you couldn't park in grass. That's the way it was done.
See,
When the
thank you.
house was built in 1987, it was done at the same time.
Just a little bit of input that I can remember about that is, so I think there were several houses that were, the front yards were filling up with parking places, and they were trying to avoid that, and a way to address that was saying that it was designated parking that they wanted hard surface on. I forget how many years ago that was now, probably 8-10 years ago, I'm guessing. But yeah, there were people that had issues with it at the time, but they did pass that.
So this alongside your garage, did you say?
I usually have my van parked there in my car most of the time. My sister moved in about 6 months ago, so she's been parking her van there. All of a sudden, now I gotta complain about it.
Is your driveway blacktopped? It's just the skirt around the
No,
outside of the garage?
driveway's cement.
Cement, okay, it's just the skirt around the side of the garage, that's
Right.
for, class 5 or something?
It's class 5, yeah. I replaced it every 4 or 5 years. It crushed it down after a while. I was gonna do it again this year till I seen this sale now. And so you either do blacktop or cement, but you have to get it okay. He said, then I still gotta pay for a permit to do it besides. If they're gonna make me do it, so if I go around to everybody I see in North St. Paul and complain, everybody in North St. Paul has to do the same thing then? Everybody's got a blacktop or gravel, or got a gravel driveway or dirt driveway, has to put blacktop down, even the alleys? 'Cause I was told it's supposed to be because water runoff or some bullshit, so I don't know what the deal is. I tried to talk to the person that wrote me up for that, and both times she's at our training, if I talked to another person in the same department, that's what he told me more or less.
Okay. Well, we'll,
I asked why isn't that grandfather did, it's been there 36, 37 years.
oh. Yep. We'll look into it and talk to the code enforcement. I know that a lot of the driveways, anytime at least something's done, they have to redo and, bring them up to code for that too, but I didn't know. We'll look into it more about that and get back to
I
you.
put gravel down every 4 or 5 years, it does push down after a while, but
Sure. I know a lot of it too was,
it's no different than somebody's got a blacktop driveway, they have to go back and seal it, so I'm doing the same thing. They're maintaining it, that's what I'm doing more or less.
okay. All right. We'll look into it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming up. Mr. Smalls. I didn't either.
Mayor, Council, it's John Schmall. It's not
I'm sorry.
plural.
I'll take the S off, sorry. I'm not having a great one today, as you can tell.
Anyway.
My last meeting was a little better.
2750 Chisholm Avenue. A quick note that I had spoken with, or said something one of the times I was here, that I had an experience of going to the open book with the assessor, and I think you said something about, and how did that turn out? Well, as of today, I have confirmation that after 47 years, I no longer have a front porch on my tax description. So one more year, next year, I will actually see a change in the valuation of my home because they now realize I don't have a front porch. So I recommend, if anyone is listening to this group, that go to the website, take a look at what's on there, because it's strange. Anyway.
Thank you.
Last year's construction aerial and 11th, seeing what was done there, I said there's a problem. And the problem is that North St. Paul has signs, yellow, saying ped crossing. No crosshatch on the roadway. Maplewood has no signs, but a crosshatch on the roadway. That's confusing if you're coming up to that and saying, there's the sign, there must not be, oh, gee, there's the street. So I called Maplewood because they had the contract to do this. North St. Paul just said, we'll come along with you, you run the show. So that's what Maplewood said to me, is that we let North St. Paul take care of all things in North St. Paul. So if North St. Paul isn't crosshatched, it's their problem. So they're not interested in it. So I let that go, called back again. I said, there's a problem with the signs that say crossing, but no crosshatch, but you have a crosshatch and no signs. And they got back to me, left the message. I still have it if you want to hear it. They thanked me for bringing it up. Unbelievable, a city that will thank you for bringing up a problem. Wonderful. Last item is the website. The last meeting and this meeting, the notifications by email, John Schmall disappeared. He didn't receive any notifications. So I called friends who have a like attitude as I do and said, did you get a notification? Sure. I said, could you forward it to me, please? And they forwarded it to me. And on your notification, you guys don't get these things. You don't have to deal with this. Only the public has to deal with this. There is an item on the bottom that says agenda, and it's highlighted. So you know that you can click on that and get the agenda. The ones that were given to me or were forwarded to me didn't work. The link didn't work, didn't open. Wonderful, wonderful movement, second item. So I decided, should I bring it up? Nope, I know, but I know that if you complain the first time, they're going to say it's in progress, work. So I let it go. I waited for this meeting notification that comes out on Friday. Nothing. John Schmall, not notified. But the link did work. I asked the friends, could you forward it to me, please? And the link did work this time. The only thing is that the first page that came up, I just did the workshop. It gave the date, but not the time. And it's very important because the time for workshop got changed, and then I complained about the last one that came up. It said 5 o'clock, but it was supposed to be, 5:30. But you said you gotta look at that all the time. We can change it on you. So at this point, I decided to go in and see if I'm still in the system. And I went to the website and tried to sign on, and I forgot my password because I never used it. Anyway, I did the link, to restore the password, and it came up and it says, "Hello, John Schmall." So I'm in there, but somebody has decided not to send me notifications. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody online? Okay, thank you. Anybody's action item, so we're going to be adding D on, so.
Yep. First item up is item A, Blue Nile encroachment agreement, and we'll have Brandy Hauer, Community Development Director, address that. Thank you, Brandy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
I really wish I could get this thing to work properly on the first chance.
Very calming.
It truly is.
Okay, encroachment agreement for the Blue Nile. Staff received a building permit back in February for a new build-out of a restaurant at 2649 7th Avenue East, which is the site that used to be Brothers Bistro, and before that it was Subway. And the applicant at that time was proposing to expand the interior footprint of the restaurant within the building, and that triggered a zoning review. And upon that zoning review, we identified that based on the floor area of the proposed new restaurant, they would need 14 parking stalls. And unfortunately, the site was not large enough to accommodate that amount of parking. So in reviewing their proposal and the site plan, staff came up with the following options for them. They could approach a neighboring business and try to enter into a shared parking agreement. They started down that path, and they had some initial negotiations with the Old National Bank, and they didn't actually get to a closure on that, but that was potentially a possibility. They could have applied for a parking variance, and the third option was to apply for an encroachment agreement with the city, where they would use a portion of Sepulveda Boulevard. So the applicant then subsequently submitted that request, and they submitted the parking plan, which is depicted on the screen. And 6 of the proposed parking stalls are proposed to be placed, well, they're actually already there. That parking lot has been paved for many, many years. But 6 of them are within the right-of-way of Sepulveda Boulevard. So staff has reviewed the request, and we had legal prepare an encroachment agreement, and that is enclosed in your packet. The agreement includes provisions that the owner maintains all of the improvements within the easement area. They shall have no negative impact on drainage. The city may terminate the agreement at any time at its sole discretion, and the agreement runs with the land and shall be recorded against the property if approved. So with that, staff recommends approval of the enclosed agreement between the city and the property owner, North St. Paul Properties LLC, for property located at 2649 7th Avenue East. I will take any questions. Okay, hearing none, I'll sit down.
Thank you.
You.
The parking spaces, does that account for the existing business that's in the other side of the building as well?
Oh, the hair salon.
Yeah.
It does not, but I believe they are open at different times of day. And this actually kind of brings to light maybe a future planning commission issue with downtown parking for new businesses that are going to be coming, on Main Street, 7th Avenue. If there's going to be businesses that are changing within some of the footprints that occupy the entire site where they don't have any parking, change of occupancy could trigger a requirement for parking, and that could be an issue for future businesses. So something that we're going to be looking at in the Planning Commission in the future months, just FYI.
And the looks of it too, there is quite a bit of off-street parking right in front of it too, as far as the restaurant. So,
There is.
both sides of the street too, it's not like one side or.
And on Henry. as well. All right. Is there no vote on that?
All for vote? Anybody want to?
So moved, Your Honor, if that's what you're asking.
I'm asking for a vote, please. Thank you. So move, Councilmember Wong. Second, please.
I'll second.
Second, Councilmember Schwer. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, next item is resolution to approve ball field rental policy, and we're going to put that back to Brandy, please.
Thank you. You'll recall at our last workshop, there was a fairly lengthy discussion about the ball fields and whether and how we should modify the fee schedule for that. And the ultimate decision was to continue to charge the existing rental fees with the exception of certain nonprofit organizations that serve North St. Paul youth. They would have practice for no charge. And so in developing the, instead of just doing a change in the fee schedule that would signify that, I thought it would make a lot more sense and provide a lot better guidance to staff as they have questions on ball field rentals. So we developed the enclosed policy, which includes the facility rates and just some additional detail on the existing facilities that we have. And as I mentioned, those rates are not proposed to change, with the exception, there is a line item in here for lighting. If anybody wanted to switch on the lights, that would be $25 per hour in a charge in addition to the field rental fees. Reservations would be continued to be taken via the online platform. Scheduling priority has been given to North St. Paul High School and the American Legion in the past, and so that's being memorialized here in this agreement. Insurance is also a requirement. That's another thing that's going to be formalized. Denial and revocation can be at the sole discretion of the city manager, should there be some issues with behavior or misuse of the facility. We've outlined the renter responsibilities in the refund and cancellation policy, and we've also outlined what to expect in terms of weather cancellations, and that there is going to be no snow removal from the fields. So with that, I can take any questions related to the ball field policy.
Does anybody?
One,
Yep. we're good.
just because I don't remember, and I apologize, on the previous tournament fee of $300, I believe that was the same as it was before. Did that include the lights?
It did not. We did not charge for the lights. So that is something that was not discussed at the meeting exclusively, but staff has suggested that be added as an additional fee.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm just a little curious on what the context is around the snow piece.
Oh, we've had some questions about will Public Works staff be removing snow from the fields? And that's happened on a number of occasions. So they don't have the capacity for that. And I think the expectation might be a little bit above and beyond what their duties are. So we just wanted to make it clear in the policy.
I'm glad you did that, because Ron did mention that people asked if they could clear it so it melts and dries out faster and gets snow out of there. So that's good to bring that up.
Thanks.
Not because they want to play ball in the snow.
No. They're not adding the snow onto the field, they're taking it off.
And does that also, and that also applies to the groups and individuals trying to remove this?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, anybody?
It gives priority to the Legion, but did it also maintain the agreement we, I believe, talked about before about them being able to use it at what we talked about for cost?
The Legion, yes, under that resolution that was approved many, many years ago, they do have it free of charge. Staff is in contact and has been in conversation with the Legion on developing a more formal agreement, and so that's being negotiated right now, and I would imagine it'll be coming back to you in the next month or so.
Okay, so that wasn't the part you were talking about memorializing, just their priority of rental.
Correct.
I want to thank the staff, everybody for this, because I think there was a lot of confusion at the end, and I think it really got it ironed out very well as far as getting a better understanding for the whole broad picture of what we're using for our fields and everything else, so thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a question regarding the Legion, and was it North St. Paul School?
The high school?
Yeah, that's partnering.
Yes.
Is there a date that they have to give dates to you by? That way other people can reserve the fields?
That,
Because it sounds open-ended right now, and they have first priority, so how are you supposed to know?
That's a great question.
there is, okay. The deadline for priority scheduling is February 1st.
Fantastic.
All right. Anybody like to,
I move to adopt this.
Councilmember Norby, second.
B.
I'll second.
Second, Councilmember Schwiers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
All right, next item up is the ordinance to amend the 2023 fee schedule, which addresses this. So, did you want to go over that, Brandy?
Yep. So with the approval of the policy, the fee schedule amendment basically just refers the user to the policy. So as we look at the fee schedule in the future, we'll also look at the ball field rental policy if we need to make any changes.
Questions on that? All right, to a motion.
So moved.
Councilmember Cole,
Second.
Councilmember Norby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is report of city manager and departments. I'm going to first have, oh, I'm sorry, that's right. We brought item D down, pardon me. Item D, resolution, did you say D or G?
G is becoming D, yeah.
Okay, resolution changing the location of polling place for elections, excuse me. Did we have discussions?
Any discussions on that? You brought it up, what did you?
I was one that asked to pull it. I know legally minimum, we're required to send out the notice 25 days before, but I would ask that we go above and beyond what the legal requirement for notice to a residence is, and try and get this notice out to everyone and possible well before the 25-day legal notice that's required of us.
Absolutely, yes.
Any issue with that? Anybody else? Okay.
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 Or motion to.
Motion,
Motion to approve?
Councilmember Norby, second.
Second.
Councilmember Wong, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All right, next up, reports of city manager and departments. I will turn this first over to Finance Director Dan Winnick to go over the Finance Department, please.
Thank you, City Manager Frandl, Mayor and council members. I know that a couple of council members I ran into just before these meetings, and that I had kind of joked, but I was actually serious when I said that I heard that the last council meeting went to 9:45. I think we can beat that tonight.
No.
Would appreciate that.
Just kidding. So this is, I'm going to give kind of a finance department update, and I've kind of have a little format that I'll take different sections and different pieces because I believe we'll be doing this on a regular basis. But first of all, I want to thank you all for your leadership. With the award for the financial statement kind of piece to it, I talked about leadership, and leadership's very important to me, and it's also recognition of staff, and that's why I wanted to have staff here to be recognized for their contributions that they do for the city, and particularly with the finance department. But I've enjoyed being a part of this organization, and the leadership that City Council gives. I haven't had a lot of opportunity yet to get to know this city council, except for two members, and the mayor has stopped in on a number of occasions and had some very nice discussions. So looking forward to, as we go through the budget process, to get to know each and every one of you, and I value each and every one of your opinions and thoughts. That's how I learn and get different ideas. And then I wanted to thank our city manager. When I did come here almost 2 years ago, he was the interim. He welcomed me, spent numerous extra hours beyond the regular days to get to know me, and really made me feel comfortable in this organization. Want to let you know who our finance staff is. Barb Holzman, who you met today. She's our utility billing coordinator. We have Taylor Lilly, she's our senior accountant technician, and Melissa Alicia is our utility billing clerk. Those three are really the primary ones who are doing all of the utility billing, collections, customer service. They do an absolutely fabulous job. I have now been in government for over 34 years. Prior to coming here, I was over 32. And I have never seen customer service done the way they do it. They are very calming. They do an absolutely fantastic job with residents. If you can imagine in the utility billing, especially if you've had your utility disconnected, that you'd be quite upset. They handle them amazingly so. There's some conversations that they end up with some of the residents that are quite abusive, but they handle them very well. They do not raise their voices. The way they handle customers at the counter is just second to none. Barb has done a tremendous job. Barb has, I think, will be approaching 37 years with the city of North St. Paul. She has seen a lot of changes. She has done an absolutely fabulous job of training her two staff members, particularly Taylor Lilly, who's been here a little bit longer. Melissa has been here for just about a year. And then we have Jackie Lutmer, who is our finance coordinator, who you got to see tonight. Angie Molnar, who is our accounting technician. And those two have really been very, very instrumental for the finance department. They're really the ones who are responsible for the accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, just about everything else. Answering questions, helping out with the overall financial, systems, journal entries, everything else, that's part of the responsibilities of the finance department. And our newest addition to the finance department, thanks to the city council approving an accountant for the 2023 budget, Mary Kay Heenan. She is a perfect fit for our department and for this organization. And so I am going past 10 o'clock tonight because I got stories. But when the accountant had left at the end of 2021, I came up with this really obscure, goofy idea that because it was year end, a lot of closeout, financial statements and so forth, that I probably would need a little bit of help. And I needed to get some help from somebody that I had trust in. And it was, the person had fantastic credentials, was a state auditor, many years in government. There was only one problem, that individual was my wife. Yet the city council allowed that to occur, and she worked part-time for the city for a little while, usually just on Friday, every other Friday. But she was instrumental in helping. The reason why I bring her up is, one, again, the leadership of this organization and helping to do things sometimes that are outside the box, and making sure that this organization moves forward. And the other point to it is that I had never worked with my wife, but I got a great appreciation for her skill sets and her abilities. And part of the background that she has was that state auditing experience. By George, guess what we got? We got an individual now in Mary Kay who had 10 years at the state auditor's office, She was 3 years at the city of Minneapolis, 3 years at the city of Bloomington was her last job. She's coming to a smaller city because she wants to see everything. And when you're in a bigger organization, you only do a bank reconciliation, or you only do this component to it. She wants to see everything. You know, part of my responsibility as the finance director is that someday I probably will retire and want to make sure that the city is well taken care of. And Mary Kay will hopefully be the one that will end up being my successor. Great addition to the team, and then myself. What do? We do accounts payable, accounts receivable, we do budgeting, capital assets, cash management, debt administration, financial analysis, financial reporting, investments, payroll, procurement, special assessments and property taxes, tax increment financing, utility billing, and customer service. I've got utility billing and customer service highlighted because that's what we're going to focus on tonight. What are we working on in our department this year? We're working on making capital improvement plan enhancements. If you recall, our capital improvement plan has been on an Excel spreadsheet, very hard to read. There's no description, justification in many of the projects that are proposed. That's all going to change. We are going to have descriptions on each and every one of the projects with justifications. We'll have better summaries. That is already beginning. And so you will see the revised, updated, much better professional. It will be a book of our capital improvement plan. And then we are in the process of, we've just started on a payroll conversion. The city council had passed moving our payroll and HR to ADP. So we are just beginning the process of that payroll conversion. A timeline, again, timeline can kind of change, but they're looking that we probably will be up on there sometime maybe in July. So there'll be a lot of work with that part. Public engagement. Been having some discussions with our city manager. I know that past city council, this past city council group through the budget process really was looking at, you know, how do we do a little bit more public engagement, especially when it comes to the budget processing. So I've got a couple of ideas that I'm in discussion with our city manager. Really would like to somehow get a little bit more involvement by the residents in our process of budgeting. Purchase order implementation. As you're aware that at the end of every year, the books are closed, the funds are closed, and then we move into another budget year. Yet state statute allows funds to be carried over for legal obligations and for capital funds for 3 years. We currently don't have a mechanism to actually carry over those funds. So right now, what we end up having to do is to do a budget amendment, justifying why it wasn't spent from the prior year, and then have the current budget increased in appropriations so they can continue on with those purchases. It's become even more problematic more recently as one of the offshoots of what, kind of an implication of what COVID created with the supply chain issues, that some of our vehicle replacement, it's been taking 12, 18 months or longer to even get the vehicles. So what we're going to do is to start utilizing purchase orders. That way those can be, their encumbrances, they can be held over from 1 year to the next. I will draft up a policy for staff to follow. It really will follow along our purchasing guidelines. So really so department directors will have the choice to put many things underneath purchase orders if they desire, but it will be mandatory that anything over $20,000 will be put into a purchase order. Why $20,000? Because that protects the city manager, and that protects our mayor. And so we need to make sure that that's in place. He doesn't even, our mayor didn't even know that this was coming, so, but that's a part that we, that's, as a finance director, need to make sure that we are making sure that we have those bases covered.
I just signed a check for $20,002.54. So it went over by the $2.54, so I decided this week, so it worked.
So we, yes, so we'll be putting those into purchase order. And then we started last year, developing more staff redundancies. I'm a big believer in having primary and secondary responsibilities on every function. It's something that really wasn't in place before. As you can tell, by the individuals that were here today, 3 of us are approximately about the same age, which means that 3 of us probably will be leaving somewhere in the same neighborhood of time, and need to make sure that this city, from a financial standpoint, continues to function as well as it does today, and hopefully even better. And so we've been working on, and will continue to work on, building redundancies. And again, we've done just an absolutely fantastic job with that. It really, I can't speak highly enough about the team that I have. We actually have fun. I know it's hard to believe accountants having fun, but it actually does occur. And then succession planning. Want to make sure that at the point of time, as myself or any of the members of my team, make a decision that they're going to leave this organization, that we have plans, that we have backups for them, or that we have people that can step in and fill those responsibilities. Never want to put the city and the residents, in a bad position. So those are kind of our initiatives that we're working on this year. So now we're going to jump into the utility billing and customer service. That'll be our focus for tonight, and then when we have other updates, I'll take other areas and kind of discuss those. So there's a lot of information here, I think it's important for you really to understand, and feel free to ask questions as we go through, to really get an understanding of the utility billing and the customer service component of the finance department. Because again, they're generating $19 million of revenue. They're touching each and every one of the residents, in the city, and has a great impact. So they handle consumption questions and high bill complaints and explanations of all the services provided and billed to customers. They assist customers with payment options. If an individual is delinquent on their payment, they can make payment arrangements. We don't, we're not so cold to say, you owe $300, you have to pay $300. Nope, your power's off till you pay the $300. We will try to work with the customers and try to make a payment arrangement for them to be able to start paying down their balance and eventually getting it to, to having no balance out there. And we try to assist them as much as we possibly can. They serve as the help desk for online payment issues, the explanation of services provided and pricing of garbage-related fees. We have a tremendous amount of calls that just come in for garbage. We have 2 lines, a utility line and a garbage line, but many of our calls on the utility line are related to garbage. So that eats up a lot of our staff time. They resolve garbage collection issues, missed garbage pickup, delayed garbage pickup, garbage delivery issues. You can't believe, of all of the issues that have raised to me through staff, they've all been related, for almost all of them, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, have been garbage related, and issues that they've had with the driver or so forth. Not a lot. But it's kind of ironic that that's what really becomes problematic for some of our residents. You're talking a lot of trash. That is very well done. Second thought, I'm going to cut this short tonight. Customer service, phone calls. We get about a little over 1,300 calls per month on the utility line, about 200 on the garbage line. And again, there's many phone calls that are on that utility line that are actually garbage related. Some utility billing stats. There's approximately 7,400 bills that are produced each month. And the monthly revenue is 1.6 million and almost 20 million in annual revenue. The utility billing duties, they ensure the accuracy of all bills, meter readings, calculation of rates, and accounts are set up correctly. They transfer bills to outside vendors for printing, again, proofing for accuracy during the transfer. They set rates in accordance with the fee schedule that's been set by the city council. They calculate the power adjustment rate in accordance with the monthly MMPA bill. They set yearly interest rate on utility deposits, refund accumulated interest yearly. They invoice billing-related items and submit to accounts payable for processing. And there's a number of specialties that we end up having to pay other entities that we actually collect money for. And again, you saw this part of the credit card customer service, the utility payment stats for 2020 and how they're kind of broken out versus the different types of ways and methods in which they can pay their utility bills. Collection of unpaid bills. So kind of like everybody, everybody kind of gets an understanding, and again, I'll get some more information on delinquencies and that, but it was on pause through COVID and just started in January 1st of this year that we're processing penalties again for any unpaid balances. There usually will end up averaging about 1,200 accounts per month that are delinquent. We process, print, and mail an average of 392 disconnection notices per month. There are 2 rounds of reminder phone calls that are sent out using the notifier process in our software. There's an average of 180 customers that receive reminder calls. And then we assist customers navigating the different energy assistance programs that are available. They assist energy assistance providers to help qualify customers for assistance. So it's really a team cooperative trying to make sure that we can try to help some of our residents out, and make sure or try to help them qualify to receive the assistance to help with their utilities. We assist an average of 164 customers in making payment arrangements. We assist customers who have electric disconnect due for non-payment. This usually averages about 40 customers per month that actually get on the disconnect. They will actually call each and every one of them, and they get disconnected, and you'll see that that's a day that's always marked on our calendar because they get a lot of phone calls and a lot of people rushing trying to get their power back on. And so that's usually a very busy day, and if you can imagine, that's usually a day that the residents are not as pleasant as they can be on some other days. I'll just leave it at that. They assist on payment options. They assist customers in contacting available energy assistance providers, and they communicate with electrical personnel and after-hours staff regarding disconnected accounts. So they'll actually send communication out on the disconnect of who actually is still disconnected. And so they really do a very thorough job, and job number 1 is that we want to try to get everybody to pay their bills, and that they're having their services all connected. Move in, out account transfers, that usually averages about 177 accounts per month. So there's quite a bit of turnover that's happening in the city, and that includes homes, apartments, businesses. So they'll ensure that the move out a customer account is accurate, date of move out, the forward addresses of customer moving out. They'll process refunds. They usually average about 27 per month. They'll assist customers who are moving into homes and apartments in how to set up their account, getting all of their information, and making sure everything is accurate for their billing. Rebates average about 150 per year. And they try to educate customers on conservation rebate programs that are offered by the electric department. They ensure products qualify for the conservation rebates. They process rebates using software for an account credit. They process rebates by submitting an invoice to our accounts payable side. They report monthly to the MMPA for electrical rebates. It's about 100 per year. And then they report quarterly to the Metropolitan Council for water rebates, which are about 50 per year. Clean energy. There's 365 participants with about 3.7 million in kilowatt hours of electric demand for 2022. They educate customers on the clean energy program, assist customers on sign up for a clean energy program, and report monthly to MPA with the numbers of participants and their consumption. Solar power. We currently have 9 customers participating in the solar generation. After their usage, participants add 21,000 kWh to our electrical supply. So in other words, they're producing enough for their own use, and in addition to that, they're giving back to the grid. Assist and educate customers with procedures for solar power participation. Assist and educate solar providers with procedures for solar power participation. Ensure accuracy of billing for solar participants. They set up an account to credit participants for solar generation. They track usage and production of electric. And then they process rebates due to customers upon joining the solar program. Other things that our utility billing customer service sections assist the overall finance department with is delinquent utilities, and I think many of you have seen that we run a process that that comes before the city council in September, and then ends up having a public hearing, and then eventually gets certified. Those are delinquent assessments, not electric, but the other garbage and water and sewer that will end up being a special assessment and put against the property if they go unpaid by a certain date. And that process we run usually starts, first notification that comes to city councils in September, and we certify the list in November to Ramsey County, the county auditor. And then they do all of the city cash collections, and they distribute conservation kits for the electric usage. So that wasn't too bad, was it? And I know, Tim, you're thanking me today, but any questions or discussion on any of the material, or if you have any questions regarding the finance department as a whole?
Any questions?
Yes. First of all, thank you very much for your presentations just today overall, and for receiving such wonderful awards. You and your staff. I think being here the last 2.5 years was a whirlwind for me. I can't imagine, and the tension around our finances. And so to receive this award, I think, is really a testament to the work that you and your department have been doing. So thank you for that. Some questions that I have. I'm just kind of curious on, are there some rebates that people are much more interested in, or you see that have a lot more people receiving versus others?
There's interest that ends up coming through, like for some of the water rebates that come out there for conservation on that, for replacement of toilets or washing machines, because there's actually some funding through Met Council for that seems to spur on interest. We get a lot of inquiry as far as the electric side, and there's a lot of great opportunities for that, even opportunities that the city can take advantage of. And I know in the past, with our fine past electric director, the city did take a lot of opportunities with that, at the community center, and then just with their own street lighting and so forth. So there still are some more opportunities that the city can do, and the residents of the city should take advantage of some of those electrical rebates.
I do have a question regarding the, like the allowance sign-offs. I know, as you indicated, there's a $20,000 sign-off. Over that, do you have departmental specific amounts that each partner or department can spend and what they qualify for? So if it, we'll say Ron, for example, he can sign off on $5,000 if something needs to be purchased for $5,000. Anything more, then it needs to be brought to Brian's attention, or what policy and procedures do you have for that?
So department heads have the authority to go up to $20,000. There may be some other purchasing guidelines that they need to do. I mean, we highly encourage them to try to get multiple quotes and bids, but it's not recommended. By state statute, they should all be looking at the state contracts first, at least give it consideration. Don't have to use them, but they should be given consideration. Anything over $20,000, because we're a Class B city, that's where the city manager's authority ends at that point in time. Most of what we have today is we have everything pretty much routed through our city manager to make sure that they're reviewing and that they're signing, especially if it's a contract. If it's just an ordinary purchase, a regular purchase, the department head will purchase. If it's a contract, we have our city manager review and sign, as well as all reviewed and signed to make sure that there's funding in the budget and so forth. And then anything above that, there was a change in authority at the end of last year, a part of the approval of the capital improvement plan that was adopted that basically authorizes or delegates the authority of the city council to the city manager and to the mayor for any item that it still has to follow all of our purchasing guidelines, but for anything that is on the capital improvement plan that they have the ability to sign as long as it's within the purchasing guidelines. So our review, they'll fill out a form. The form has to be signed by the department head with all of the documentation that's brought to me. I'll review it to make sure that they're meeting the city's purchasing policies. I'll review it to make sure that it's within the dollar amount that was set in the CIP. And then I put my little marks onto it and sign it, and then it goes over to the city manager for their review and their signature, and then finally to our mayor. And that's really, those are the ones that I want to make sure that are being entered into as purchase orders, because they've just created a legal binding agreement from a legal standpoint.
And I apologize.
And I'm not trying to overspeak for our attorney over there.
I apologize. I diverted from the
No.
utility and customer service. You guys are doing a phenomenal job too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So, thank you.
Long-term goals of going paperless billing, is there cost savings there?
That's something that we're just beginning to start to look at to see what kind of options that there are. Part of what we've seen is that we would still have to have options for the printing of it, because not everybody necessarily would have the ability to do that. But we would like to see what we could do and how we could offset from the current, because we send everything out to be printed and mailed today. So if we could cut that volume down, obviously there would be savings. So we're looking at that, and as soon as we get some concrete numbers onto that, I'll bring it back to the city council to have them a little discussion and then hopefully approval and moving in that direction. But
Thank you.
Do you have data in regards to how many people average enroll?
average enroll,
Or they do an average bill enroll for the year?
I don't know that off the top. We've got data just about on everything, so I certainly will find that for average pay. I will get that for you.
Thanks.
Another question in regards to the statement. So on the one side, it states, some of the prior year's consumption. Is it possible for the for that to be formatted in more of a visual manner? Does Does that make sense? I'm just thinking, like, when I can see my consumption over time, I'm
Oh, I
much
see.
more likely to adjust rather than if it's just written in words.
Oh, so you-
So if we're thinking about, you know, saving electricity, things like that, I find that sometimes visual presentation can help.
So you're saying on the bill, they have some sort of graph, the same time period last year, this is how much I used on a graph type of thing. I mean, we do have some limitations with our financial software, which a utility resides on, but definitely something that we'll look at to see if there's some sort of way, or if there's another, software that can be integrated to be able to pull and maybe make the billing a little bit different, including graphs. I do agree with you. I kind of like that too. I'm more visual than I am, yeah. I really don't like numbers. No, I just,
It's really interesting. My parents out in California, they even have comparisons of their neighbors. So you can see how your neighbors are using compared to your own too, which is, I think, a really interesting approach.
it really is, because then it all of a sudden spurs some sort of, hey, I'm on a little high side here, I gotta drop my utility usage down. Yeah, I can see that. That would be interesting.
Keeping up with the Joneses, right?
Nice.
Thing or something?
Any other questions, or?
Questions? No. Compliments? Yes. They're hard for me to give some days. Councilmember Wong and I have been here since your beginning of your tenure. I mean, the awards tonight just, again, just underscore what you've done since you've been here. You make finance, I understand some of it, most of it now, not all, but a good chunk, so I appreciate it. When we get around to budgetary times, you actually bring some fun to talking numbers, so I people with short attention spans greatly appreciate that, so I want to thank you for that, and you've just, you've got a great team. Your team works well together, Dan. I just want to thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yes, I do have a fantastic team. I am very, very lucky. And again, and I really do mean this. This gentleman over here is, I owe him a lot, because he made me feel welcome coming into this organization, and the city council has been very approachable. And all the people here, this is where I'm ending my career, so, so as long as you'll have me, I'll be here for a while longer. But, this has been for many, many years, I'm not a risk taker. I probably can figure that out from most accountants, are usually not. And I had the security of the last place that I was for many, many years. Something pushed me to try this. It's called my youngest daughter, to try to apply. It was always a dream to be a finance director. I'm glad that she pushed me, and I'm glad that I got this opportunity. This completes my career the day that I finally retire, so I couldn't be happier. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you from all of us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good. All right.
Yeah, a couple quick updates for you from our departments. Public Works is working with their new SCADA system that they got up and going now. They've got the street sweeping done. They've gone through the entire city now for the first winter cleanup of leaves left on the streets. They will call that good until the trees bud out, and then they'll go back and clean the streets one more time for that. They've got the patching down for about 3/4 of the town now, but they're still pumping that out. It's a tough winter on the roads. Fires dealing with code compliance. We have the old Tap and Grill site is being cleaned up now, so it's looking a lot better, and so it's nice to see that. Electric's been working on some undergrounding there for the Lily project. That's a feeder line going through there that they're getting underground, so there's a lot of work to that. Still waiting on material to come in. Doing some pole change outs as well. Community Development had a little over 200 permits issued this April, about double from last month. Looks like we're getting all tiered up for our garage sale. We got 37 garage sales registered this week for the May 4th through 6th city garage sale, citywide garage sale. Interactive map and full listings on the website. 25% increase in participation from last year, which is great. Then the weekend after that is the city cleanup. So we'll have that from 8 to 11 a.m. at the Public Works facility there. So that's always a popular event. We can refer to the website and city news for accepted items and map to the Public Works to help navigate the 7th Avenue construction. And that's all I have.
Reports, commissions and committees. Councilmember Norby.
The Planning Commission meeting is this coming Thursday. You're all welcome to come. It's open to the public, and we'll be discussing some zoning changes to get in compliance with the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Councilmember Wong.
Yeah, the Arts and Culture Commission will meet here tomorrow in the chambers at 6:30. Also, we have some winners for our utility boxes, so that's been a really exciting, I think, activity just because it's engaged over 200 residents. So I think that's a really nice opportunity for people to, share what they are thinking and have a part in the arts as well. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Schwer.
Parks and Recreation met last Wednesday here in Chambers. They had an excellent presentation. I'm sad that Dan left because he did an amazing budget presentation for the Parks Fund, Park Dedication Fund. Went through all the actual dollars, and there were a lot of questions asked for that. So it was pretty, it was at their advantage to have that. So it was very nice of Dan to do that. There was a pretty neat lady that came in and asked about a community proposal of a little library in a park. Her mother had passed, and they would like to do this in remembrance of her. So that is we thought it was a pretty cool idea. And I have been driving past some parks recently, and there's actually the little libraries in those parks too. So not specific to her, but it is seen in the neighborhoods. So it's pretty exciting. The next meeting will be the last Wednesday of May. So
Thank you so much. Councilmember Cole.
Next EDA meeting is going to be a week from today, May 9th at 3 o'clock here in council chambers.
Great, thank you. General business. Councilmember Norby, Councilmember Wong.
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Spears.
I have nothing.
Councilmember Cole.
I have a couple, one of which we all had the opportunity to participate at the History Museum. It was not like the movie, but it was fun and exciting nonetheless for us to be there. It was a lot of fun. There's not very many opportunities that council and mayor get the chance to get away from behind where we are and just kind of let your personality roll out and let people understand who you are. And for me, it was a phenomenal opportunity, and I thank the History Museum sincerely for offering all of us the opportunity to come be present.
Thank you.
So, one other announcement, I made it at the witching hours of the last meeting that we attended. St. Mark's Church is looking for donations. The North St. Paul Police Department used the fellowship hall for an opportunity to take breaks in between when they're out there. And their snack supply is starting to run a little bit low. So if anybody is interested in making a donation, suggestions include any type of, individually packaged goods, sodas, all varieties, et cetera. Drop it off at the office. The office is open from 8 a.m. 9 to 1, I believe. And just put North St. Paul Police on the donation or just drop it off in Fellowship Hall and they'll make sure that everybody receives it.
Great reminder.
And I look forward to seeing everybody on May the 13th from 9 to 8 to noon for citywide cleanup, and hopefully it doesn't rain this year like it did last. Carrie looked like a wet rat. I'm done.
Thank you very much. I want to take a couple minutes as the council here. As we get together. A little disturbing news today as far as we had an issue with a person sending voicemails, and one of them was threatening where I had to actually bring the police in and be able to, for my personal safety. And they had to go out to that person and take care of that issue. So I just wanted to bring that up to the council. I take this very seriously for all of us. We all are here as a servant to the government as far as the city and being able to do that. We have a lot of great residents, but I think we have some people that just forgot manners over the last couple of years and understanding that they can't be doing threatening phone calls or anything like that. So I just want to know, everybody, that this is very serious, and if any council members have anything like that, we will take care of it with the full extent of the law, because this is something none of us should have to deal with. It was very disheartening today. I apologize, I'm a little off my game because it was something that came up real quick this morning, and we had the council meeting tonight. We've had our police officer in the back walking around, so everything seems to be fine, but it's a concern for us. We do this out of the love of our city, and there's thank yous, but there's also lots of different things that come, and talking to our city workers as far as the people that run the front counter, and it seems to be a lot of that happening where people are hot-headed, and we shouldn't have to deal with that. Like I told my kids when they were young, you speak to people like you would when you're standing in front of church or anything else. You have to use that. If I get a voicemail that starts off with, a lot of cursing, a lot of that, I'm done with it. I don't respond to that, and I hope none of us have to do that, because that's not the way it works. We talk to each other as far as the way we all should speak to each other, with open mind and kindness, and so I just wanted to let the council know that this is very serious as far as that, and if anything happens, we just want to make sure that everybody's safety is up front, and we take care of things like that. We encourage everybody. I get a lot of great voicemails as far as, different things and people that disagree, and that's fine. Disagreement is great. There's always going to be disagreement. It's just how we handle it. And that's where it's welcome as far as that kind of thing. But anything where it's escalated up to personal safety or just very coarse language, it's something that won't be tolerated by myself or hopefully anybody else in the city or on the council here. So I just wanted to bring that up in front of everybody so we understand what's going on with that. So that was today's thing. So I apologize a little off today for the meeting. Didn't do the 3 minutes. I'll keep an eye on that again. But I want to thank everybody and appreciate what we do and the group we have here. Everybody does a great job, and we can all get things done. It doesn't have to get ugly, and it doesn't have to get personal. So I thank everybody for that, for being able to support us as they do, and just keep it nice, and we'll all work together. All right?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks. Brian?
Excuse me, I'd like to add one thing. Speaking of appreciation, I would like to recognize my predecessor through the electric department, Jim Bowers. He passed away a week ago. He'd worked here at the city for about 35 years. He came in at a pretty critical time for the city. They were updating an old electrical system that we had here, where they upgraded the system to a higher voltage, which is what it needed. It was in pretty rough shape. Him and his boss at the time was an electrical engineer, and with the help of all the electric linemen, they really turned this city around and upgraded the system to what it is today. So just hats off to him, and just appreciated him.
Thank him for his 35 years of service. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate the electric department, because they do wonderful work.
All right, well, last up is our closed session. This meeting will be closed as permitted by Minnesota State statute for a confidential attorney-client privilege settlement discussion related to litigation in the matters of amendments to various water appropriation permits. Office of Administrative Hearings, file number 8-2002-37733.
So I close the meeting then?
No, Mr. Mayor, if there's a motion and a second, and then vote on that.
Then closing?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Your Honor.
So move Councilmember Cole.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Schwer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Are we changing rooms, or that's what, are we changing rooms, or are we here?